Were they in the water, or were they in boats at that point?
Most of them were standing on the wings. There was a couple people still in the water.
And sorry, I showed up, but what were you doing out there? You were
heading home. We're heading back across the waterway. Heading back to my car's in Jersey, so we were heading back to Jersey.
Personal boat you're in, or is it?
No, we're on the New York waterway.
Oh, okay.
On the ferry.
Okay, great. So how you figure you pull out 6 people?
About 60.
60.
There's a lot of people. I can't be definite on 60. It could have been 30. We were just pulling people out of the water.
You filled up your boat and then brought them back?
Just brought them back to New York. Now we're just trying to get back to Jersey.
Yeah, right. Good luck.
Once again, a ferry boat operator talking about what he had to perform, had to do once he saw these passengers coming out of the plane, basically treading water after Flight 1549 went down.
The heroes of this ordeal are these the ferry boats that responded to the scene, and you heard that surviving passenger say it was just a matter of minutes after the plane touched down that they were surrounded in the water by these ferry boats from New York waterways, these Circle Line boats that were traveling nearby and made the call to duty there, and were able to pluck a number of the passengers to safety. We were told that they were able to rescue some 30 to 60 people who were standing on the wings of the plane as that plane was floating there in the water. And
our Dean Memminger was en route there. He got to about 79th Street. You had some traffic parameters there. You know, where the problems are. It was about at 79th Street.
79th Street, southbound on the West Side Highway is closed, and northbound, so far as we know, is still open, but it's very slow going and is subject to closure at any time. So drivers are advised to just avoid the West Side Highway entirely.
So do we have any word on Dean's progress so far? Anybody in the control room? No? No Dean yet? Okay, so he's trying to make his way down there. Obviously, it's not going to be an easy go. You're going to have to go all the way around that area, and it's already, it's rush hour. It's rush hour. You got the Lincoln Tunnel down there, so it's probably going to be a big mess. But in the end, knowing that everybody survived and knowing that the plane has been fully evacuated makes up for that. Yeah.
Well, once again, I think we should play the sound from that passenger who was interviewed earlier just as he emerged from the rescue. It appears that all of the 150 passengers and crew members were able to escape relatively unscathed. A number of them have been taken to area hospitals suffering from exposure. Obviously, in this cold weather, you would expect that. But this one passenger who spoke just a few moments ago seemed fine and was able to describe the ordeal.
It felt just like a car crash, you know, with the same thing, with the impact, and then all of a sudden it was just get out and get out now.
So what I hear you saying is that there were basically 2 exits in the front of the plane and over the wing. Is that right?
Yeah, and I believe there was a third one in the back.
And people could get out through the back too.
Yeah, but I didn't see that. You know, I went to the ones in the front.
After the pilot said and announced to everyone on board, get ready for impact, what happened then? Were they able to speak to you, the pilot and the flight attendants?
No, that was the only thing that was said. And, you know, immediately some people started kind of, it wasn't really yelling. It was a mixed emotion of yelling and crying. But for the most part, it got really quiet and you know, it was just... You know, for impact, I mean, I pretty much just said to myself, okay, I guess, you know, this is it, let's do it. You know, I didn't really know what to think at that moment. And once it hit, I realized that I was okay, and I'm like, okay, you know, get out now before. Okay,
once again, a passenger describing his observations as all this was going on. And, you know, obviously there's a concern about sunset. Sunset's about 4:53, nearly 5 o'clock, so they'd want to try to get as much done as they can while they have the aid of daylight.
And we are hearing that the plane has been fully evacuated, although you just can't be too sure. And so rescue crews are still in the water there and surveying the scene, looking for any passengers who might have escaped their notice. 150 people on board that plane. That includes passengers and crew members. And it appears, at least for now, all of them have been rescued safely. We've also been told some 41 of them have been taken to the Intrepid. Presumably these people are in good shape and didn't suffer any injuries and are being held there to be taken elsewhere to safety. Also, family members who are concerned, again, this is U.S. Airways Flight 1549 from LaGuardia Airport bound for Charlotte, North Carolina. Family members are being gathered at the Crown Plaza Hotel near LaGuardia Airport for further briefing, but it appears the news will be good for them.
I'm not sure how fresh this number is. I have a note here that it was the breakdown was 146 passengers and 5 crew members, taking us back to 151. I'm not sure which number is correct, but the breakdown is going to be very close to that, obviously, when we're dealing with the possibility of just one other. Once again, I'm getting a note saying 146 passengers and 5 crew members, putting the number to 151 people on board.
All right, and now I don't know if we could call this a confirmation, but government officials do say that the plane went down in the Hudson after striking a bird. We had heard a flock of birds. If one bird could cause so much damage, God help us.
With so many flights and so many birds, that's amazing.
It is incredible, and 2 engines were disabled as a result of this collision in the air. The water temperature is just about 20 degrees. I'm sorry, the water temperature is about 42 degrees. The air temperature is 20, and that is a deadly combination, and it is an amazing rescue if all of those people who went into the water were able to get out safely.
Some of these survivors taken to St. Luke's, some to St. Vincent's, others on the Jersey side taken to the Port Imperial Ferry Terminal in Weehawken. I'm not sure what hospital over there they're going to. But that was the last we heard. Perhaps we can find that out for any family members trying to locate their loved ones or friends.
Some chilling words, though, hearing from the pilot saying, get ready for the impact. We have our reporter, Rochelle Boone, standing by. She is at the scene now. She was able to make her way there, and she reports by phone, I believe, with the very latest. Rochelle.
Hi there, Roma. We're at the corner of 41st Street and the West Side Highway, where there is a flurry of police activity and fire activity. There are dozens upon dozens of rescue units here. Now, we were told earlier that everyone who was on board that plane were able to evacuate. We also spoke to a passenger who was on that plane who said he thought that everybody who was on the plane were able to get off. Now, according to him, I can only describe what he told me. He said that they were on their way from LaGuardia to North Carolina, and about maybe half an hour or so in the air, he said all of a sudden they felt some kind of jerk, some kind of noise. They thought the engine blew. Then the pilots started circling. He said that they thought that they were going to go back to LaGuardia Airport. Then he said all of a sudden, the next thing he knew, they were heading for the Hudson River. All of a sudden, the pilot said, brace for impact. The plane hit the water, and he said everybody scrambled to try to get on life rafts. Now, I also have our Dean Meminger here with me. He was in the Bronx. A lot of people in the Bronx say they were able to see the plane possibly on fire.
Well, actually, I was at the Bronx Zoo right on Fordham Road across from Fordham University, and I actually was in my car, and I heard a big boom. And then when I looked up, I saw the plane going by with fire coming out of the engine, Rochelle. Immediately I said, uh-oh, something is really wrong here. And immediately I saw the plane make a U-turn over the Bronx and head back towards Queens. And at that point, another gentleman was beside me. He was riding his bike, and he ran over and he said, I heard it and I saw it. I hope they make it back okay, because clearly we saw fire coming from the engine of that plane, and we knew something was very wrong. And when you hear the news that the pilot was able to get back here to the Hudson River, do a smooth belly landing from the Bronx, when I think back now, that the pilot was wrong and they were trying to get back, and they operated very smoothly, so hats off to them. But once again, for the folks up in the Bronx, we knew something was wrong because we did hear the boom. When I looked up, initially I thought it was a plow truck, but I didn't see a plow truck around, so I ended up getting out of my car and actually looked up, saw the plane, and I did get about 5 seconds of video of that plane as well as it was trying to make the U-turn. So we're trying to get that back into the studio right now as well.